Hello, David. Paul Cundiff here. So, since our last update, we have applied the cut water. Cut water's in place. Very, very interesting. Very nice tight fit. So that's all good. We had a couple of screws on our rub rail that hit. That just they're kind of at random here. Well, these are evenly spaced, but when we put the wood on here, we try to space it differently than where these screws are, but occasionally you hit one. So we had about 5 screws that the outside screw that was mounting the rub rail hit a screw that was holding the wooden portion of the rub rail on. And so we had to pull those out, dowel those holes, move those screw holes that are holding the wooden rub rail on in order to accommodate the screws for the metal rub rail. We have had the floors completely in, trimmed to fit exactly and completely in place. And we pulled them back out because we're going to do some cleaning in here as the next step. We have the dash all wired, all the switches wired. Those are all brand new switches. So that, for the maximum reliability. Of course, the gauges have been rebuilt. Now, the clock, as you recall, I hope you recall anyway, we can't find a mechanism for it. There is no mechanism for it. So she cleaned all that up so that the clock looks nice. It looks as good as the gauges, but the bezels are re-chromed and all that kind of stuff, and the face is redone. But the fact of the matter is, the clock does not operate. We're trying right now to get the throttle rod and so forth mounted, and for some reason, well, we know we have rust inside the steering column. The steering column is you have a beauty tube that you can see, and inside of that you have a pipe that has an approximately 3/8, a little larger than 3/8 inch diameter pipe. And then down inside the pipe, you see a rod. Whoops. All right, you see a rod down inside the pipe. Now, inside that rod goes a wire. That's the wire for your horn contacts. And as you can see, this thing does not want to go all the way down in. And when we tried to put them all the way down in, then the throttle wants to rotate when you rotate the wheel, meaning that if you rotate the wheel clockwise, your throttle is going to go up, or it could go down depending on. But anyway, your throttle is going to move every time you move the wheel clockwise or counterclockwise. The throttle is going to move. So I have here a very long, 4-foot long, 3/8 diameter drill bit, which, believe it or not, something like that is made. That's an $80 drill bit. And we're in the process of cleaning out the inside of that steering column pipe. So again, you've got the beauty sleeve that you see, the chrome beauty sleeve. Inside that, you have just a piece of pipe that goes down to the gears and rotates the gears, one of the gears, and that causes all the other gears to rotate inside the steering box. And then you have inside of that, you have your throttle tube or throttle rod, but you have that inside of that. So we're in the process of getting that mounted. Of course, the windshield, as you know, that was some difficulty. It didn't have a windshield. We found what was supposedly the right windshield, and we got it here and found out it was too short, so that's had a piece added to it. I'm telling other people about it as much as I am telling you about it, I guess. Ceiling boards have been in for a while, but we did not have the last 2 ceiling boards in until early this week. And so those 2 ceiling boards are in now, which allowed us to go ahead and make a final fit on the floor. So, but again, the floor is back up so that we can clean sanding residue and sawdust and all that stuff out of the inside of the boat. This is called a self bailer. However, they sunk more boats than they saved. So in order to look authentic, we have the self bailer in place, but it is plugged off. Because the self bailer, if the siphon didn't break through this little hole up here, then if the siphon doesn't break, then Once you start to siphon out of the boat, then it will siphon water back in if there's no siphon breaker. Now I've seen these plugged up. I've seen wasp nest on top of it. I've seen somebody put electrical tape over the hole. So we just plug them off so that it can't sink your boat. Of course, the new tank is now all installed. Sender's wired in. The vent is over here, has been installed. For the tank vent's been installed. There is on the tank, there is a shutoff valve and a anti-siphon valve. The anti-siphon valve is a new thing. It was not required when this was built originally, but now we have the anti-siphon valve. So that, because if there's any leak below the level of the fuel in the tank, once the siphon is set up, and let's say it leaks into the bilge, then it will leak down until you run out of fuel, which could be, depending on the level at which your leak is. If the level is even with the middle of your tank, then you would lose a half a tank into the bilge, and then the siphon, of course, would stop. But so that's all taken care of. We still have to put in your fuel filter and new fuel line up to the fuel pump here. And of course, we've run the engine, so we know that runs. We've tested all the electrical stuff, so we know that stuff runs. We will be, when we get it completed, we will be taking it to the lake for a test run. I believe we still have the prop to install on the prop shaft, and you're looking at your front seat right here, the front seat back, and then this is the front seat bottom that goes on, and it's just sitting over here on the boat. Here's your back seat frame, is leaning up against this post behind the flooring. These are the kick panels, that varnish kick panels. One of them goes on the front of this frame, and it's a kick panel that you kick your heels into it. And we have another one for the back seat as well. Let's see what other kind of goodies we have. Of course, for your trailer, we have your loading guides ready to go back on. And here's the rest of your steering. Here's your throttle lever. Whoops, I must be. There we go. Here's your throttle lever. Here's your horn ring. This is going to be holding the horn ring and the horn contacts. So we have a few more things to put on. Oh, matter of fact, one of the questions I have is I purchased bumper cleats. So I don't know if you want the bumper cleats or not. They did not come out of the factory with bumper cleats. However, most dealers added the bumper cleats for people, for the buyers. So we can put a bumper cleat back here, and one here by the driver, and but we can put the bumper cleats on if you want. We've got 4 of them. It'll be two per side. We've also got this might have been on last time, but this is your bow light, and then they had these 2 cleats here, or two chocks. Most of the time, what I do with mine is I tie off. I use my lifting eye, and I bring my ropes through these chocks to keep them off the deck, and then I try to tie them like straight across. I don't want to bring the rope down over this wood and over this varnish, because if this thing works up and down in the slip, it'll eventually wear a groove in the varnish, and if it bounces up and down hard enough, it'll actually dent the wood. Also, since the last time, we've got the boot stripe in place. Matter of fact, the boot stripe had to go in place before you could put the cutwater on. So so we're getting real close to being completed. And I just wanted to give you an update on this. And we've got a new fuel cap that has to go on. Let me grab this. I'll grab that can in here in a minute. I got 10 tendonitis, so in my legs, so I'm having to walk with a cane right now, but that's just temporary. But anyway, so we've also sealed off your exhaust pipe and put the exhaust ring on. We have a new cap here for you. This is just an old cap that we stuck on it. I don't believe we even had the cap. As you recall, we didn't have any hardware, and we were missing quite a few of the engine parts. So anyway, we have 2 more. They're over in polishing right now, but we have transom straps that go down right here. They're highly polished stainless transom straps. And when we countersunk the highly polished metal, we got a few shavings that wanted to rotate with the countersink. And so we had to come over here and polish. I think we're done, actually. But let me come on over here and see. This one is still mounted. So as you can see, it's pretty well there. And we have another one right here. Quite dusty. But anyway, so those will go on next. And I think that's about the end of the update. We'll talk to you soon.